All right, everybody, we're back. We're going to be getting into the main review. We're going to be talking about 1982's First Blood. The film is directed by Ted Kotcheff. It's written by David Morrell, who wrote the original novel. That's based off of Michael Cozzoli, William Sackheim, Sylvester Stallone, Ted Kotcheff. A lot of names on this script. They were working on this script pretty much till the end of production, actually. And the logline plot synopsis is: a veteran Green Beret is forced by a cruel sheriff and his deputies to flee into the mountains and wage an escalating one-man war against the pursuers. And here's a little TV spot for you back from 1982.
He was harassed for no apparent reason. He was arrested for no particular crime. Starting to dislike you. Lot. They thought they'd found an easy mark. They were wrong. Sylvester Stallone. This time he's fighting for his life. First Blood. Rated R. Starts Friday, October 22nd at theaters everywhere.
Well, there you have it. That's a cool way to present that movie. Listen, it's basically about a guy becoming a libertarian. That's what it sounds
man,
like.
I have to wait all the way till October 22nd?
God damn it. I'm never going to be able to see this movie. I got cancer. Prop says, I have never seen Rambo 2 or 3, but the one with the riverboat was fucking dope. Are you talking about just Rambo or Rambo 2? Well, if you've never seen Rambo 2, because there's also like a riverboat sequence in Rambo 2, but there's also a riverboat sequence in Rambo. Rambo 4.
Yeah.
When they finally stopped fucking around and just called it Rambo, like we've all been calling it for years.
Right.
Anyways, so like we said, we talked about this movie a year ago. We're here to talk about it again. Let's just start off basics like we normally would. So, Jeremy, is this a movie that you grew up watching? Like, what is your story? What's your history with Stallone's First Blood here?
So I didn't grow up with First Blood. I definitely grew up with Rocky. I think through my dad and maybe my grandpa as well, actually. It would just come on all the time on cable and things like that, and I would watch it with them. So I knew who Sylvester kind of Stallone was at the time, and then I also, weirdly enough, I probably recognized him in Spy Kids 3D before I ended up watching First Blood. Yeah. But that was when, once I hit my teen years, I was just doing full-fledged film.
Yeah, me too. I did
classic,
the same. Exactly. Yeah, I went back through and watched everything. My local library had a great selection of movies. But I was doing the same thing. I caught up on a lot of stuff, but First Blood was definitely something that was around. I think the VHS tape was in my house.
Yes,
growing up.
yeah. And I don't know if you have the same experience, but I did. I probably had a closer experience with this movie. Actually, it was a weird example where both my mom and my dad both liked this film, and I watched it with both of them. So yeah.
Yeah, that's the experience I had. I mean, I grew up watching it with my dad. My dad was very into movies and stuff, but he was kind of a normie, and he kind of just had the movie. We went to see every Schwarzenegger movie. We went to see every Stallone movie. I saw the remake of Get Carter in the theater with my dad.
Right.
So we're definitely in the bag for these kinds of things. And First Blood was always kind of a favorite. It was just always in the rotation. Even my extended, my cousins, everybody liked Rambo for some reason, and we were all little kids. I was 6, 7 years old, and we're all just hanging out watching First Blood all the time.
Yeah.
The score is seared into my brain.
Yes. Yeah.
Because it's so distinct, and it's so and it's such a great score too. It really strikes us because it's a character-driven thriller, and it strikes this really nice balance between kind of the folksy, thoughtful side of things and also the tight thriller side of things, and it encapsulates that in that score. And I feel like a lot of that kind of those sensibilities come directly from Ted Kotcheff and his collaboration with Stallone, in terms of how to make a movie like that. We talked about Ted Kotcheff, another one of his movies, on Jeremy's podcast, Flea Pit After Dark, a year ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was last Christmas, not this past one, but the one before that, and that was also directed by Ted Kotcheff. And when we kind of noticed that he had also directed First Blood, you're like, oh, we definitely got to talk about First Blood because this
Right.
is such an interesting evolution as an artist, you know. And unfortunately, I think he kind of stumbled and kind of lost his way, and then became kind of just like a hired guy, kind of after Uncommon Valor.
Yes.
Because that's
yeah.
when he's like doing TV movies, TV shows, Weekend at Bernie's, then pretty much exclusively TV movies. He's done a few things in the past year, but nothing super substantial.
But he found a very niche period where everybody was being so experimental. Yeah, you take from like 1970, start from 1970 or 1969 to early 80s. Like people, like they just kind of like just what was gonna stick on the wall. They just kind of went for it, and not you'd get a hit and miss here and there, but like even then, like that's what like was like the prime time for directors, kind of like Ted Kotcheff at the time, to do something kind of like that.
Well, because
and
he was
avant-garde. Yeah,
he did kind of avant-garde stuff that was kind of
Yeah.
examining the male psyche post World War II, post Korea, and post Vietnam,
yeah,
and dealing with like kind of how men were trying to find their place in a weird way, because that's what Wake and Fright is largely about. It's like almost a coming of age story
yeah.
in a very an aggressive one and a weird
Sure.
one, but and in a weird way, First Blood being a follow up to Wake and Fright isn't that weird,
Oh no, yeah.
in my opinion, because
yeah.
it's a movie I've seen a million times. I never get sick of it, but it starts off on such like this kind of subdued, melancholy kind of note that you would expect from him. Like he's bringing like some texture to it. He's letting you know that this is a real person, and we're actually going to learn about him, and we're gonna get inside his head a little bit.
And also, like, coming from, I guess, the mindset of, like, I'm going to adapt this novel, but I'm going to do it much, much better. I'm going to actually get really, like, crazy with it and
Well,
not,
yeah.
follow up on what that was trying to do. Not be a faithful adaptation
Yeah,
by
and
any means.
he
you know,
was
you know.
because he
Yeah.
kind of comes on as kind of a little bit of a hired hand. He was involved with this project more than once. He was involved in
Right.
it back in like 1976. The original book was written in 1972, and it was immediately optioned. I mean, Robert De Niro was attached to this. Al Pacino was attached to it. There were some interesting directors that were attached to it over the years, and they all kind of took the novel's tone, which the novel's tone is almost completely different. I've actually listened to most of the book. And he is just a crazy PTSD-ridden Vietnam vet in the book. He's a killer. He's
yeah.
killing. He's mowing people down.
Oh, he's a serial killer in the book, pretty much. Yeah.
And Stallone, coming off of the Rocky series, kind of understood fundamentally. He's like, well, we cannot make him a villain. Like the audience has to be on this guy's side. He cannot be a villain. That was the Stallone thing. That was a Stallone touch, because they had a bunch of different versions of the screenplay. Stallone did like the second to last pass at it, basically, and kind of fundamentally changed a lot of, especially with the character. Trembling says, when Rambo 4, when he liquefies that dude with the 50 cal machine gun. Yes, that's a good part. That's a standout moment. Trembling also says, I love the Rambo movies as a kid, but my eyes glazed over at the Rocky movies. It took until I was an adult to be able to appreciate those. I would say I always liked the Rocky movies, but now that I'm an older person, I got a little road behind me, I actually love those movies now.
Oh, yeah.
And I've kind of just grown to appreciate them in ways that I never did when I was growing up. Prof says, quote unquote, he was harassed for no reason. He was arrested for no particular crime. Hard cut to Michael Jackson. And then Trembling says, not turning down stuff is a mistake, especially then. Well, that wasn't the case back in the day with Stallone. Stallone was pretty picky about projects because he hit meteoric success with those Rocky movies. I mean, he was a household name like overnight. And I think it's First Blood's like the last movie he made where he wasn't a nightmare to work with.
Yeah, where his
like
ego didn't go through the roof.
Yeah. I mean, because once he gets to Nighthawks, it's over. Like, he is an egomaniac.
Yeah.
There's so many funny stories about Stallone on Nighthawks, on Cobra. Like, what a fucking monster he was. But so Ted Kotcheff and Stallone together really come together in this really great collaboration to give you something that you would not expect from a movie like this. Especially because we just watched the trailer, right? It kind of sells you a little bit of a different movie. It sells you something that seems like it's a little bit more like kind of straightforward action movie, but I find a lot of pathos in First Blood. It's a really kind of sad movie, and it's a sad movie about a country like reeling with what to do with veterans and public perception and guilt for the people that went over with the people that didn't go over, kind of conflicts at home with authority, because you have people like the Brian Dennehy character, Sheriff Teasel, that's kind of a stand-in for, I think, the way about some people felt about veterans when they came home. Like, you lost the fucking war. Like, why should I feel bad for you? And he kind of expresses that a few times in the movie. It's like he's doing more than his job. He immediately, right off the bat, just kind of takes this personally.
It's almost like this weird, you could maybe argue, maybe it was a little before, maybe slightly after, but like this cultural turn of where like U.S. Nationalism even is kind of just disregarded now because, you have the Sheriff Teasel, like he looks at that badge like on Rambo's shirt and immediately he's like, oh, I know who this guy is. What he's all about. He's the next generation that's coming back from the war in Vietnam, and he is a shame. He's a disgrace. And it's like those two like conflicting viewpoints of what these U.S. forces were at the time. The Korean American War, U.S. Or World War II, even if you want to like go that far back.
I think it goes
and the Vietnam. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. No, I think it goes back to I include World War II because like the people that fought in the Korean War and then Vietnam were the sons of people from World War II.
Right.
And so they are kind of extendedly affected by that war because of what that happened to their dads. Yeah. A lot of people don't. I don't know why it's not talked about, but the amount of people that came back from World War II, like really fucked up, like seriously fucked up.
Yes.
Is way more than people appreciate. Because people, we have kind of an idealistic notion about that generation, the greatest generation. And we kind of see them as invincible because they're abstract concepts almost. They're like action figures sometimes. I think sometimes people can see them that way. It might be changing more now. But people never really paid attention to that, and their families suffered for that, leading all the way. I mean, this is what leads into like the sexual revolution in the 60s and everything that was going on, and then the Vietnam War, having that generation of men being at this kind of this pointless war, like a truly pointless conflict, like, just being shoved into a meat grinder. I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine what it's like to come back from that and having all of those conflicted feelings about like what you've done, how people feel about you. And I love that this movie actually kind of touches on those things, and it touches on it more than once. So it's like, it's intentional. Right. It's not like something that you could read into. It's like explicitly in the text.
Mm-hmm. And you have to admire the complexity in that with the Brian Dennehy performance as well, because he is essentially a guy. He is trying to do his job. He kind of serves as sort of like authoritarian position where he wants to protect his town. Not have things go wrong, but of course he has these biases, and he's just this different way of life that he saw when he was younger.
And it's all in his performance.
Yes,
it's in his performance because none of that is explicitly stated. Like there's the scene in the bar with him and Troutman. When they're kind of having a little bit of like a heart to heart, if you will, or the closest thing to that. Like he kind of expresses that he has disdain because that soldiers don't have respect for the men that stayed behind. Mm-hmm. So he has kind of a disdain. They don't think they should have to like listen to him. Like he's not an authority to them because of what they've been through. Right. And he takes it personally. And I actually made a note when I was watching it. It says the authority that is derived from ability rather than a badge. Social contracts don't mean much if someone doesn't believe in it. So when they come across somebody like John Rambo, who is just going to be like, well, no, I'm not going to you're doing something unjust to me. I'm not just going to bend the knee just because.
Yeah.
He sees the limits of that tested because normally, like, he's the cop, he's the sheriff. People probably just listen to him, right? He's not used to somebody being like indignant and not listening to him and giving everyone a hard time and not allowing them to book him properly, etc. You know,
Right.
which is a great sequence actually. The movie kind of starts immediately. You know, there's a little bit of an intro there. We were talking about this nice song comes in. We see John J. Rambo on the road, goes to meet one of his buddies to find out that he's dead. So John's now the last of his unit, this elite unit, to even be alive.
Actually, Sean, just so you can remind me too. Let me get my bandana.
There you go. Yeah, put it on. Let's do it. Let's get in there.
Can go full Rambo here, but no.
Trembling had said, no, you can. Why not? Wear it. Trembling had said, I mean the director here. Doing TV in the 80s when you make movies was a mistake and hurt your reputation. Yeah, you're probably 100% right about that.
Yeah.
It's not exactly what it is today. It wasn't prestige TV. What, people don't like The Love Boat?
No.
Too good for The Love Boat? He also says, I'm glad they had the other cop be worse than Teasel, though. Yes, because they're able to kind of offload the villainy to this guy. What's his name? Oh, fuck, I wrote it. Jack Starrett. He plays golf.
Yes.
Who, I mean, I'll just say it right now.
Also a writer and director, too, not just an actor. And again, my I don't know what you're about to say. My secret MVP.
Yes,
total motherfucker in this movie. But
he's not even actually. Is he even like really a secret MVP? I mean, he's not because he's pronounced. But I that was my choice as well.
Right.
I think I could also give David Caruso a shout.
Yes,
because David Caruso's performance is kind of like the new guy, the greenhorn.
Mm-hmm.
He's really good, and I love that he really reflects the small town nature of it. Like he doesn't even know how to take this seriously.
Yes,
and he's kind of smarmy, and when they get the call in from the radio after Galt has fallen out of the helicopter, and he's like a fucking Green Beret. He's like just great.
Even
and then Denny, he grabs him and he's like, see that? It's my fucking friend there. He's good. He's good in the small little bit that he's in. Yeah. Sorry.
I was gonna say I even loved like this a lot of this police force too in this small town. They shot this in British Columbia, Canada. But even like a good portion of this police force, like they're all like young 20-somethings too. Like they don't have any experience. They never went to war or anything like that. So like this is like their most experienced.
The greatest adversary. They've never dealt with anything like John Rambo.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Actually, you know who might be a secret MVP? Is one of the Weekend Warrior guys. The dude who shoots the rocket into the tunnel.
Yes. Okay.
That's such a great. It's such like it's like an oddly, because it's funny. It's like very real.
Yeah.
And it also reinforces this idea like these guys have no clue what they're doing. Like this is small town shit, like magnified by 1,000. Like these dudes really do not know what the hell they're doing.
Yeah.
And it's and it goes to show you how not just their ineptitude, but like not just their ineptitude, but also that they're that they kind of like they don't realize how stupid they are.
Well,
they don't realize they can't handle it, and that's almost part of the problem, especially when it comes to like Sheriff Teasel. By the end of the movie, is like he just won't give up. He just won't stop.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's stubborn like the whole way through. Like all the cops, they're not even familiar within their own territory, within their own like forest. Like this is a jungle that Rambo has grown up around in the army. So he knows what he's doing. He knows how to like get around and like stump every single one of them.
And they do a great job of setting that up, like just initially right off the bat, because you know when Dennehy's searching him and he finds the big Bowie knife.
Yeah.
And he's like, "What do you use that for?" Well, he's like, "Well, I use it for hunting." And he's like, "Okay." They can't even believe that there's a person that can do that kind of stuff.
Right.
They're
a bear,
totally,
like with a bare knife or something. Yeah.
Yeah. They're like totally out of their element.
Yeah.
Totally out of it. But here's just the scene here. I also really like this guy.
Yes.
The dog guy.
Uh-huh.
The guy with the dogs. He gives a great performance as well. I mean, pretty much top to bottom, everybody's having fun.
Everybody's great, yeah.
In Rambo First Blood. And I love this whole sequence, and it's such a great start of the sequence. The way that they use the rain, the way that they use the lightning to constantly create reveals, kind of like a horror movie section of the film,
Exactly.
where you have the killer, you have the killer stalking in the forest, maiming people. I guess not the killer, the maimer. You know, because we're not gonna lay the blame for Galt on John Rambo. That'd be ridiculous.
Yeah,
that'd be crazy. That'd be crazy, dude.
And it's that, like going back a little bit, it is that Jack Starrett, Deputy Sergeant Art Galt, who just he gets the worst of it. The one accidental death of what? It's so funny. Like growing up when I watched this film, I always thought Rambo was killing people, but then as I got older, I'm like, oh yeah, he kind of just gets away scot-free without like only injuring everybody that like he comes in contact with, but he's not actually a killer. And
he's not killing anybody. And that was,
I love that aspect. Yeah, yeah.
It was intentional because Stallone knew if they start killing people that are like this, these are like local yokel guys. They are way out of their element. They have no business messing with somebody like John Rambo.
Yeah.
And that's like, so if Rambo was to start killing these dummies who are kind of like, I know that they're the villains, but they're not that villainous.
No, no.
I mean, you could say, I think Galt, obviously, because him and Dennehy, and I think this goes back to what I was saying before about Dennehy being a stand-in for the feelings of a generation. Mm-hmm. I think Galt is part of that. And I think when he expresses the idea of like, you guys have no fucking respect for the people that had to stay here.
Yeah.
And keep society functioning. And, he has kind of, I don't know if they're delusions of grandeur, but he has like a perspective on what he has been able to offer the world while the rest of it was falling apart.
Yeah.
I want to see, I was
going to say, Galt definitely has like a specific vendetta or something against like that generation. It's so weird. Like when you compare his performance to Dennehy, because Dennehy is like, he's at least trying to like somewhat keep things balanced while still like on the hunt for Rambo. But
Jack
Starr, like he's like vicious. He's going.
Well, I mean, and he's kind of the inciting thing that makes Dennehy kind of double down on this endeavor, right? Like because it's his best friend. I mean, we've all had a shitty friend.
Yes, yeah.
That we still like nonetheless. And that's he's Dennehy's guy. He's Dennehy's version of that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get this moment. There's a really great moment with, there he is. It's when he starts yelling at the guy who's flying the helicopter.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really great moment of our our not so secret MVP of the movie. Because he's front and center, but he's not in the movie that much. So I mean,
he's like the fourth actor because it's like a three-way thing with Stallone, Crenna, and Dennehy. So yeah.
Trembling says the part where Rambo starts getting hit by rats always skeeved me out. Yes, they used to creep me the fuck out too.
Right.
Another amazing sequence in the movie, all natural light with that torch. So cool, just so dynamic. It looks so cool. Trembling said they never let Rambo kill dogs these days, even though they're sent to kill him. Well, he technically kill one of the dogs just off screen, doesn't he? One of the
you hear like a whimper or something like a dog got. I can't remember actually.
He got.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's see this. Let's see this little bit of Starrett's performance here, because this is like one of my favorite parts of the movie.
Yes.
Oh shit! I gotta stop everybody. It's because I don't want us to get blocked.
Sure.
Just calm down.
What the hell's going on?
What are you doing? We're just supposed to spot him.
Hold it steady.
I can't. We're in a thermodraft. Jesus, Norm, he's stuck there. He can't.
Here it comes. He's gonna turn around and say something to this guy. It's like one of my favorite moments ever.
Go any place.
If you don't buy this thing right, I swear to God, I'll kill you.
What a perfectly delivered line.
Right.
If you don't fly this thing right, I swear to God, I'm going to kill you. Oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
So good. So delicious. Delicious scenery chewing, but that doesn't make itself too obvious.
Well, and also it speaks to Starr's character because a lot of the scripts and films that he would direct, they all kind of feed into this kind of like small town bike racing. I talked about this I think before last year when we recorded the show.
Yes, no, we did. We talked about because this the same thing happened. I think.
Right. But yeah, roadshow quality, like libertarian sort of like movies where that are very like, oh, the cops are evil. We gotta like get the family out of here, and and he's playing like a very corrupt cop on a helicopter about to trying to shoot Rambo. Yeah, essentially.
Yeah. He's got. I mean, he's a cool dude. He directed a lot of TV shows. It seems like. Back in the day, in a couple of movies. Kiss My Grits was the last movie he did in 1982.
Yeah.
A man heads for Mexico with a mobster's girlfriend. Oh my goodness.
Sweet.
Would watch. Yeah. He's awesome. Secret MVP, not so secret MVP.
Not so secret MVP. What is the secret MVP is the dog guy. Yeah.
The dog guy, or maybe one of the Weekend Warrior guys. Like
right.
I just really enjoy that because they have the three or four guys that are there and like the little like on the log.
Mm-hmm.
They just have good chemistry.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm in a Richard Linklater movie all of a sudden. Austin says, "Whoa, Bruno Kirby is in Kiss My Grits. Laugh out loud. I saw part of it recently." Oh, there you go. Cool.
Hey, alrighty. Yeah. There's a connection everywhere you see.
Everywhere you go.
You rewatched this again for this show. So, is there anything new or nuanced or different that you, or I guess, stood out to you from Stallone's performance in particular? Or
I mean, nothing really new because I've already been like an appreciator of its nuance, I guess, for a little while.
Yeah.
But it really struck me how like powerful that last monologue is, like how intense it is, and like it's such a hell of a performance from Stallone. He really brings it. He really delivers on that. And and part of the reason is because like that monologue he gives is made up of a bunch of real stories. Real guys really happened to guys, and that they collected to make the most intense Vietnam thing ever. And it kind of reveals that the movie itself is very sympathetic to vets. It is a little more almost. Would we consider it right leaning just because it was sympathetic to vets, which wasn't like a thing. You got to remember what time this movie comes out, 1982.
Yeah. I was gonna say like to the time. Possibly, but it's so hard to categorize that nowadays. It really is kind of
today in 2024, First Blood reads right wing.
I think so, but I don't know. Yeah, it's yeah.
Or not? Or do you think not? Do you think it has more of that Kotcheff like hippie kind of sentiment? Because it's in there. It's definitely in there.
No, I mean just the emotional side alone. I mean, we've got a show on Dead of Night, which kind of deals with a couple of similar themes.
Yes, it does, 100%.
And I think there's definitely a hippie side to that kind of storytelling, which is really compelling in a way too, and I think opens eyes on both sides. I think they're like everybody's like emotionally kind of connecting more now with like what's going on with a movie like this at this time, 1982, but not probably in 1950s America or something that's responding to a past war or something.
Well, I'm kind of curious what like a Gen Z person would think of First Blood. I mean, like, is the historical context too far in the past? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I know that I am of an age, probably the last generation that's going to have like a tangible connection to this time period, just through like family and stuff like that, and because of my age. But I wonder now that you have people like, what would a 20-year-old think of Rambo First Blood? Like a normie 20-year-old. I'm kind of curious.
I take it even further. Think about Gen Alpha right now. I'll tell you, there's a few like teenagers in my neighborhood who don't buy into all the mainstream shit and are raised what it seems like pretty well by their parents, at least, to not take everything at face value and to like actually think about these things, like, you know,
Yeah, be a
whether it's
little more
war.
thoughtful.
Yeah, just, you know, and so I think it's tougher for Gen Z. I think it's a very you're gonna find yourself in a hodgepodge mix, but there's that possibility that the next generation's gonna be a little bit more respondent to something like this and
Well, I don't
understand
even-
it better. I don't know if that's
Well, I mean, it's not that I just wondered because I'm kind of curious. Are my feelings for the movie? I mean, I understand I have like nostalgic
right
ties to it. You know, kind of first of all, but second of all, like I had a sense of what soldiers went through when they came home from Vietnam. I grew up watching like Oliver Stone movies and like, you know, stuff like that. So, you know, before I see First Blood, I've probably seen like Born on the 4th of July, and I've seen Platoon, and I've seen Apocalypse Now. And so I had a sense of what Vietnam was, like in a kind of more tangible way.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it was through movies and watching old documentaries and stuff, but I had a sense of it. I'm kind of curious if that sense is still there. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I just felt like the world was much more comfortable with allowing like kids to experience and see things that were more adult, even if they didn't understand it, even if it came to like news, etc.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
you kind of just were aware of everything. And I don't feel like that's the case anymore. And I can say that even myself as a parent, like maybe I would be more guarded than like my parents were.
Right.
So I don't know. Trelling says the only part of this movie that doesn't belong is when he takes over the truck and has a joke for the guy. Watch the road. That's how accidents happen. Yes, actually, I made a note. That's part of my notes is the top of the third act.
Yeah.
Trelling says a normie Zoomer would first of all think this movie is boring because of the pace. See, that's to me. I think the pace is pretty good, pretty snappy, except for the middle. There is when the Colonel Trotman gets there, the movie does kind of pause for a second. But I mean. I think it's a necessary pause because it kind of reinforces that this is a character-driven piece in its own way, and it's also about just the idea of veterans, kind of in a meta sense, and it needs that. It needs that to fill out the story so that you can kind of reinvest. We take a break, we reinvest. We even get a chance to kind of develop some empathy for Teasel.
Yes,
you know. Which I think is important, and it makes the ending less cheap, but it also makes the third act a little weird because it turns into more of an action movie,
a cat and mouse kind of like action movie.
It becomes way more directly an action movie.
Yeah,
and it doesn't look like he's not trying to kill people anymore. Like he's blowing up gas stations. Like,
yeah.
You know,
which if you compare to the book, like he's like basically blowing up half of that town, killing people.
He destroys. I think he destroys the town. Like he fucking craters it.
Yeah, pretty much.
And I love that David Morrell, like complete like professional. He's completely embraces the movie because he knows it means he gets more book sales.
Yeah,
and he openly talks about that, and it's kind of funny. I always love when guys like this are like super transparent. Like I've listened to the commentary that he did for the movie, and it's funny because he's always like, but I think it's great. I think it's great that they did their own thing, and I get to go and talk about my book and talk about First Blood. It's a very heartwarming in a weird way.
Sure.
But I do think if I have an issue with the movie, it's definitely starts. It would be in the third act, just because I feel like tonally it accelerates in a way that I'm not sure I was prepared for. But that could be just me. But I think the pacing's pretty good.
No, yeah, I think this is like also a tonality you see with a lot of modern Gen Z movies too. Is that like, at least my reaction has been lately to a lot of these movies. I'll appreciate or I'll like the first act and the third act, and the middle portion sometimes gets muddling, and I would say First Blood is kind of guilty of that a little bit too.
A little bit,
even
yes.
though I like these three main characters and all their how they all interact with each other.
Yeah, I agree.
differently.
Well, that's because we take a break because we start spending time with other characters.
Yes, yeah.
We move away. We like I talked the Weekend Warrior guys, the dog guys, the other the younger police guys that are kind of getting picked off and stuff like that. So we're seeing the operation come in when they're setting up base camp and stuff. So the movie just pauses for a little bit on kind of its intensity, because it's like I said, it starts like right away. Like you're off to the races as soon as he gets to that bridge. Like the movie starts and it starts in earnest,
Mm-hmm.
And but the weird thing is, even the things I kind of like maybe sometimes will bore me or will bother me a little bit when I'm watching it, when I reflect on it, I like them like individually. Like I like the parts individually, even if I don't always like them as part of the whole. I don't know if that makes sense, but
sure.
Let me see. Trembling says, I think it's a good pace too, but Zoomers need Fury Road frantic pace, or they're looking at their phones. From my experience, that's probably true. It's probably true. Do you think they need to go Fury Road? Jeez.
That again, that feeds right into what I just said a second ago. I don't care for the middle portion of Fury Road. Even I like the first third. I like the last third. The middle, I can kind of just do without.
Yeah, when they get to the desert.
Right,
with all the women,
yeah,
a bunch of solid fours.
Yeah,
these ladies need to get into some shade. They need some lotion.
Yeah,
now. I'd agree. I'd agree with that 100%. Yeah, that's the weirdest thing about we have never talked. This is a little bit of a tangent, but the Furiosa movie. Don't we already know her origin story? Like through the process of watching Fury Road and discovering about Furiosa, they kind of give you context clues and then they just kind of explain it when they get to the desert. Like, why the fuck do I need to see a Furiosa movie? I want to see a fucking Mad Max movie. I don't want to see a Furiosa movie. I'm still gonna watch it, but
dude, I saw that movie in the prime time when college feminists were all saying why is this a Mad Max film? It should be a Furiosa film. I'm like, you've never seen a Mad Max movie, have you?
All you got to do is go up to them and reassure them, be like, George Miller had the writer of the Vagina monologues on set to hang out with the girls. That was that was a thing.
Yeah.
I remember reading about the production of the movie like way back when they actually made the movie. And the Vagina monologue. The writer of the Vagina monologues were in there so the girls could get in touch with their femininity and bond. I was
in
like,
the wasteland. It doesn't
I gotta
I
gotta return to our good boy Laurence Olivier. Have you guys tried acting? You know? Let me see here. What other notes do I got for this movie? I'm sure there's a million things we're not talking about.
I got a couple of notes. The rough cut of it was over 3 hours apparently. So they shot a lot for this movie, and then they had to cut a lot of back. But.
Yeah, I don't know if they said the first cut was 3.5 hours or 3 hours, and then, but I don't. Was that just their assembly cut, or was that an actual cut? You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't
know. If it's an assembly cut, that's not that remarkable, because that's Sylvester Stallone actually originally wanted to buy the movie and burn it and shelve it. He was so mortified when he saw the first cut of the movie. I mean, Stallone, I hate to say this, but I think Stallone has a lot to do with why this movie is what it is more than David Kotcheff. I'll be honest with you. Okay. I don't even know if Kotcheff was that involved in the 90-minute cut. In fact, when I listen to interviews and stuff, he's not even really mentioned.
Yeah.
He's not. He's not
not a household name.
Well, I know, but Stallone is an egomaniac, so I don't know if it's just Stallone being Stallone. But it seems like although the other people in the production also kind of support this notion that Stallone is really the one that shaped the movie. Mm-hmm. I mean, Stallone made a lot of the big decisions, like we had talked about before, about not letting John Rambo kill anybody. That's a big choice. That's a big choice for this movie based on the material that it's based on, especially. I mean, that's such a huge deviation. You're like, well, why are we even doing this? So it wouldn't surprise me, but I would love to see it. If there's a sincere 3-hour cut of this movie, I would totally watch that. Just for posterity, just to see what it was. What was Stallone so mortified about?
Yeah. You definitely do get deleted scenes, and I'm going to pull up my Ultimate Edition DVD
That's right, you got-
copy of
yeah.
First Blood.
Oh shit! I have a 4K.
No, also like not to go on another tangent here, but like, man, I miss the days when having like a DVD was like an interactive experience. The way that
menus?
this does the menus, the way they almost turn it into a video game itself. Like, oh yeah,
It's probably it's probably cool now. Like going
Yeah.
back, because I remember it was like a novelty when it first was like that, and then it got
Right.
annoying. And now, if I went back, I'd probably be like get like that nostalgic rush. Be like,
Yeah.
ooh, let's go watch the secret documentary and the Usual Suspects disc.
yeah. Make sure
To
you
watch
click
that
it at the
secret
right
interview.
at the right point in the film too. Yeah, yeah.
I remember
Yeah.
the special edition of Memento. If you clicked the clues in the right order, it would play the movie in chronological order.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's not as good. It's almost like it was designed to be done backwards.
Yeah.
Trelmick says, just give me an old man Mad Max movie with a bushy gray beard, Mel in Wasteland, dude. I would
Yes.
die.
Yes. Oh
I-
my God. Yes.
Listen, it's hack,
Yeah.
and I don't care that it's hack, but like because it's just hack to make this like comparison. But I want the Mad Max Logan movie, like what they did for Logan. I want a Mad Max one. I want a coda with old
Right.
Max on one last adventure. That's what I would want. You know, let's resurrect Tina Turner. Is she dead yet? Or is she still? She might be still alive. Is Tina Turner still alive? Judges? Hold on, I'm gonna look
Just double check. She might have passed. I can't remember.
because I remember there was a documentary came out about her. Yeah, she died in last year, May 2023.
There we go.
So I guess Tina Turner's out, but with hologram tech, and I feel like we could probably license her out. You know what I mean? Trembling
Right.
says she's dead recently. Trembling also says, man, falling asleep and getting woke up by loud, obnoxious DVD menus isn't something I miss, to be honest. And yes, that was my life. Actually, when I had roommates back in the day, they would always bitch at me because the DVD menu would just be playing all night.
Right.
You
Right.
know, I'd fall asleep listening to a director's commentary or something, and then like the menu would just keep playing all night over and over again. And I got used to it, so I didn't wake
Yeah.
up anymore. But yeah, good times. Good times.
Good times going around. Speaking to Trembling Compass real quick, what they should do, and I never really realized. I think he's older than Mel Gibson, but bring back Johnny the Boy. Like maybe he did survive in the original Mad Max, and he wants revenge or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or isn't there like a theory about that guy that he's? No, am I thinking of the wrong person? Never
no,
mind.
no,
I'm
you
thinking
might
of
be.
I'm thinking of the wrong person. Because I'm thinking of the theory that the feral boy is actually
Oh,
Tom Hardy's
Yes.
version of Mad Max.
right.
Like
right,
Mad
right.
Max is like Batman. It's like a
Everybody
moniker.
was like jumping on that one again, and just from people that had it was so hard to get friends or people, college associates into Mad Max Fury Road at the time when they had not seen a single Mad Max related
really?
thing. Yeah, they just like they went to a blind, but when they saw it, they're like, oh, this is like the best feminist propaganda piece like we've seen in like you guys don't know where this comes from. Yeah,
I know. I did. Well, how do you feel about Mad Max Fury Road? Or do you not like it?
No, I like it. I like it a
okay.
lot.
I was
do.
just curious if.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, because it does have that, like, you know, that's that of the moment, like
Right,
feminist subtext for sure.
Yeah.
But it's so kinetic,
Right.
and I know some people don't like the style of the movie, but I'm telling you, seeing that thing in a theater, that was actually another great theater experience I had.
Yeah.
Me and my wife, we had $40 in our bank account, and still decided to go see Fury Road.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, dedicated. We saw it in 3D, I think, too.
I did too. Yeah.
Yeah. I always do. If a movie's in 3D and I'm going to go see it in the theater, I usually will go choose the 3D option because I'm like, I'm never going to see it like this ever again.
Right. Yeah.
Like, I went to see the new Avatar which is the only time I'll ever watch that movie. Like, I'll never watch that again. But my brothers wanted to go, and I was like, okay, I'll go. You know, it's like brother hangout. And but I was like, but if we go, we're going to see the fucking 3D version. Like, I'm not gonna go to see this movie if there's not something special about it. Like, come on, guys, come on. Trelling says there's a theory that Max's boss from the first one became Lord Humongous in Road Warrior.
Oh,
is there?
okay.
I haven't heard that one.
Yeah.
It's a great series. I actually really enjoy the Mad Max series, and I like how all the movies are slightly different.
Yeah.
I mean, Fury Road is definitely the closest to like the Road Warrior. You know, they have a kind of a similar tone. But dude, even like if you were to go from Fury Road to Road Warrior is like going the speed limit. But the stunts are kind of way cooler because they're actually doing them, like in a way that they're not doing them. I mean, there's a lot of cool stunts and stuff in Fury Road. Don't get me wrong, but there's no speed ramping and color correction and all that stuff. It's just a dude on an oil rig and Mad Max climbing all over it, fighting guys. It's kind of awesome. Right. Actually, I gotta rewatch the Road Warrior. I haven't watched that in a while.
Oh, it holds up well. I did it I guess it would be a couple years now, but when I did the Mad Max retrospective, back when audio retrospective was the title of Flea Pit, with Jacob Miller.
I've heard that one. Yeah.
Yeah,
because you guys coincidentally did it around the same time that shameless plug Dan Prophet and I talked about Mad Max, the first one. Yeah, and then we kind of talked about the other ones, but we focused on the first one.
Right, and that was actually one of the first reviews you guys did where I'm like, oh shit, you guys are actually talking about other real world things that I'm thinking about like constantly in my head. That relate to the movie. I'm like, oh shit, I gotta get these guys on my show.
Dude, movies and art, that stuff, like it's part of your life. It lives with you.
Right.
And one of the best things, one of the most like fulfilling things, I guess, of doing this stuff now is I really love revisiting stuff that I haven't seen in a long time to see how I feel about it. You know, like just because even movies I disliked, even movies I really didn't like. You know, a good example would be like T2 Train Spotting. Like I bounced really hard off of that, and I've never returned. But I should give it another chance now that my expectations are kind of different, and I'm older. Maybe I'll just appreciate it more.
Sure.
You never know. We haven't really talked about the score at all. I mean, we've mentioned it here and there in terms of its like how kind of unique it is. And how it splits the difference between Ted Kotcheff's kind of folksiness and Stallone's need to have a thriller.
Yes. One thing I noticed about the score this time around too, the drums in particular, like they feel like the beating of the drums of like an army about to go into battle.
Well, yeah, because it has like that military undertone with like the tap drums and also the horn section.
Yes.
Really, it actually really kind of infers the sense of like honor and dignity and the integrity of a soldier, right? That's kind of the mournful soldier walking on the street, like on his pilgrimage.
Right. But Jerry Goldsmith, like he always delivers. Like he is probably one of our greats, in terms of composers. I know people love to praise the shower scene score and things like that of Psycho, but his score to Psycho 2 is unbelievably
it's good. Yeah.
It's so somber and captures like the emotion of that whole movie.
Yeah, it's crazy that movie's good. Like it shouldn't be good.
Yeah, it should not be. Yeah, that's the whole thing.
And then they went right back to business with Psycho 3.
Right.
Like you're like, oh, this is what I thought. Actually, Psycho 3 is fun. I'll give it to Psycho 3. I'll watch Psycho 3, but I know it's not it's not a great movie.
When Anthony Perkins starts directing, yeah.
And it's got what's his name? It's got fucking Lawnmower Man. Jeff Fahey.
That's right.
Speaking of, we got to make our Lawnmower Man reference. Poster still behind me. It was too lazy to put the Conan the Barbarian one in there.
Yeah.
Prophet says, First Blood was a good start, but Rambo didn't really come into his own until Secret of the Ooze. Trellick says that ooze was full of HGH. Oh, damn it. I would have, you know what, Trembling? There we go. I was looking for it, and I wasn't ready. Trembling says, man, talk about a sagging second act. The second act in the first Mad Max is rough. See, I used to think it was rough, and then I ended up like kind of enjoying it. Like when Prophet and I revisited it, and I hadn't watched it in a long time, and I kind of just like really like just sank into the movie because the first movie is very different than even the Road Warrior. Like it really does feel like somebody's first movie, and let's get my friends together and let's be crazy.
Yes.
Like it really has that kind of sense of it. I mean, half the crew on Mad Max was working for beer.
Yep.
They were
And they worked together on multiple different projects too in Australia. Too,
fucking George Miller, wasn't he a dentist?
Yeah.
Is that what he was? Or was he just a doctor? Was he a regular doctor or was he a dentist?
I
don't remember. He's one of the he's in
doctor.
the medical field.
He was in the medical field. He was certified technically. But Mel Gibson at the time when he was growing up in Sydney, half that cast like he was friends with, they worked on other stuff outside of Mad Max. So everybody was kind of like they knew somebody, you know.
You got to get into the vibes of Mad Max, you know.
Yeah,
you got to get into the vibes. But there is this really interesting element that actually is kind of mostly explored in the middle of the movie, which is like Max's relationship with I think it's his wife. I believe they're married, or it's his girlfriend. I can't remember honestly, and kind of how that develops and this idea of coming of age and being a man and a legacy, and he's a father, and then that's what he gets taken away from him, and that's why he becomes Mad Max. Like we have to understand why these things are so important to him in this weird post-apocalyptic world. Prophet said he wasn't a dentist, Sean. He was a dentist. Fair enough. I'm a dentist. I can't do it. I was trying to do an Australian accent and failing.
I'm a dentist. Yeah. Yeah, mate.
There you go. There you go. The Jerry Goldsmith story, though, so many bangers. Like even some of just like the little pieces of music are good, like the little the grace notes,
right,
little stingers and stuff like that. Homecoming is a good. What's the one I'm thinking of?
Even just the opening theme, I mean, sets the tone perfectly for the film. Like you're already like, oh yeah, we're in for some heavy shit. Like something's gonna go down. You know,
his friend's dead of cancer. That's
Yeah.
how you're introduced to it. Hold on, let me see. I can share a screen. We'll play a little.
Yeah,
We'll play a little piece here. I think everybody can hear it if I just play it. Let me know if you can hear this. Can you hear it, Jeremy?
Yeah.
You can hear it, right? Yeah. Fuck yeah. It's almost kind of close to the Incredible Hulk theme from the old TV show. Trembling says, I need a curly-haired, casual saxophone playing wife. Who doesn't? You know, you're not wrong.
Right? Yeah.
We all need one of those. She could have played on this. Trembling says, it's a long road when you're sliced alone. Burn out, bow. I tried to get his brother to play the Frank Stallone to play the ending theme. Now, I don't know if I've told this story before. I probably told you when we recorded this, but I used to go see Frank Stallone perform on the reg when I lived in Anchorage, Alaska. He would play in a pool hall dive bar in their basement on a stage. And honestly, some of the funner shows I've ever been to. Everybody had a really good time, and it was a military town, so he was kind of there for the military guys more than anything.
Sure.
I tried to shake his hand one time, and I thought his security guy was gonna fucking knock me out. But I tried to get him to play it, and I couldn't remember the name of the song. And this was before everybody had smartphones. You just look up shit. This was like 2008, and I thought he was gonna kill me. I thought he was gonna leap off the stage and hit me with his guitar. He was like furious.
Wow.
Furious that I would ask him to play the song, and I was just like, I'm sorry, I don't remember the name of it. he was so mad at me, and then he refused to play. He was kind of a dick. Wasn't a great experience, but I'll always love you, Frank Stallone.
I was gonna say, Sean, maybe Frank Stallone, maybe he's the culprit, the one that doesn't want you to release a Rambo First Blood review. Maybe he's been following Zoobox. Yeah,
he's following. He definitely watches Zoobox.
Yeah,
definitely. You know, people may look at our stuff and we like to joke around. We like to say, oh, we do solid zoo box numbers, we call them. You know, that's called suppression, everybody. That's called censorship. I'm just a censored man. And now Jeremy's a censored man. Prophet's censored. Big Paul censored. They're coming for us, okay? The algorithm will not let me grow. Oh, dude, like, I don't know. I really do think my YouTube channel is like in some sort of weird state. I get videos that will go up like 500 views in the first 10 hours and then stop.
Yeah.
How the fuck is that possible? I don't even know how that's possible. Like, to get like 500 views in a very short period of time and then nothing? You're like, what the fuck? Anyways.
There's like a set like group of people that are just like keeping a close eye on us the whole time, the whole way through. You know, Frank Stallone and his army. You know, I've got
fucking Mark Taylor. That's who it is.
Yeah,
that Jersey trash. I'm sorry.
No, I got one of his movies. I think it's called Terror Train.
With Frank in it? Yeah, Frank's been in a couple pictures himself.
Yeah, I've got it on like my DVD rack. Haven't watched it in a hot minute, but yeah, he's Sly Stallone's brother.
Yeah, he's not a great actor. He's not a great
No.
actor. But this is a great song.
Yes. Yeah.
Let's just sit there and bask in it for a second. Yeah.
That's Frank Stallone on the guitar. Yeah.
Yeah. He came in as a session musician.
Yeah.
Let me see here. Let's see here. Hanging Over the Cliff. Oh, I think that's a good one.
Yes.
Oh, you know why I love this one too? Because it might be the same piece of music. Did they use this in Predator?
It sounds like something that
this sounds like when Arnold's like when he slides off of the cliff and into the water.
Right.
Like this is the music that's playing.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like this. Dude, that's so good.
It's too eerily
and it gets
similar.
better. And I love how he like starts folding in these other instruments slowly. So, I forgot who had done the score to the Predator one. Alan Silvestri did it.
Oh yeah, another great classic of the time.
Yeah, apparently a giant fucking rip-off artist. What a hack. Let's see here. What else we got? We got First Blood. Skip ahead a little bit.
Sure.
Ooh, yeah. Oh yeah, that's classic Jerry Goldsmith right there.
Yeah. He gets a little bit of the whimsy in there at the end.
Are they hunting down a man in the woods? Or are they looking for goblins in a fantasy forest?
Right,
What's going
right.
on?
Yeah.
Trembling says Silvestri. Yeah, I was going to say he just ripped off stuff from here. Honestly, it does kind of sound like it. I might. Should we pull up the Predator score and see if we can find it?
You know, one of my favorite, or at least more interesting composers that like kind of branched. Well, it's weird, like what he would be attached to, but you know, Christopher Young.
Yeah.
Like he does something like Hellraiser 2, and then Spider-Man 3. Like he just like completely.
Yeah, you're like, what are you doing? Like,
right.
What do you get out of this? This is just this is really just your 9 to 5. Like that's really what it is.
Yeah.
All right, I don't know the names of the Predator ones, which is a shame because I really love Predator. It's like that's an all-time, definitely in the same kind of vein as First Blood. Like my childhood is inseparable from like this movie. The Chopper, Grim Discovery. I mean, dude, I actually listen to the main theme for Predator all the time.
Nice.
That's actually even sometimes in the gym, like a psycho. Fucking just lifting weights, listening to the Predator soundtrack.
I'm gonna fight the Predator today. Yeah.
Do it! Come on! Trembling says sometimes composers rip themselves off, like James Horner. He reused his main theme from
Yes.
48 Hours Again.
Oh my gosh.
The one in the Commando is Zero Changes. Yeah, because it's like, I got a song for you. You want me to write a script? You want a score? I got you, buddy. Gonna hear some classics.
James Horner, that hack. Yeah.
All right, we're gonna go through the songs because I don't know them well.
Right.
I don't know the titles well enough to know where the fuck it would be. Oh yeah. Oh dude. Yes. Like it's so like magic. It really, honestly, I get nostalgia boner. It just takes me back to being a child.
Right.
Like, cause the whimsy of it, like honest, cause
Yeah.
he's just ripping off fucking Jerry Goldsmith and that like little like sprinkle touch. I don't know what you would sparkle sound. And it just that reminds me of being a kid and like hearing this in my head when I was like in the woods and pretending to make discoveries.
Yeah.
Like I had pulled the leaves apart and it revealed something.
It's kind of like a deceiving opening because it's like this is not your average, this is not your kids' family friendly alien movie. Get
This
ready.
ain't some
Yeah.
fucking Steven Spielberg bullshit.
No.
You cry about your dad leaving you. I
Yeah.
don't think so, buddy.
No
This is
trauma
Predator.
here.
This
Yeah.
is Predator. This is Shane Black, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of my friends are pedophiles. Whatever.
We'll get it. We'll get through it.
Yeah. Listen, I tried to help a brother out and put him in a movie, and Olivia Munn fucked it up. Trelling says, and the Axel F theme from Beverly Hills Cop, Harold Fedemeyer had already used it in an earlier version in Fletch. Oh, I didn't know that. All right, let's see the chopper. Oh, yeah, this is classic. Come on. This is also what it plays in my head when I'm making discoveries, when I'm like researching things.
So it plays in my head when I'm taking a shit.
Just sweating, like dabbing sweat from you. Close up shots of like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Ever have to take a huge shit when the AC is broken in August?
Yeah.
Oh. Then you play the dialogue. He only comes in the summers.
Yeah.
When the weather is hot.
Yeah.
And the jungle is thick. Prophet says, I laughed so hard when Steven Spielberg's dad left him. What a bitch. Yeah, he did. Well, actually, you know, it's funny. Steven Spielberg has come around now in his old age and has now taken his father's side in the divorce long after the fact. That's revealed in the film The Fabelmans. As an older man, he's looked back and said, you know, my mom was kind of a like crazy person, and my dad was just like a nice nerd, and he couldn't handle this crazy woman that would like he'd come home and she bought like a monkey, and he's like, what the fuck? And then she was fucking his friend. Trelling says, I know too much about film scores. I have a giant film score playlist that is basically the only music I listen to. Hey man, if you're like me, Trembling, and I think you are. I love to listen to film scores when I'm reading comic books or if I'm reading particular books. Actually, my son and I are in the middle of reading The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. So I try to find like some nice classical kind of film score, whimsical pieces.
Dude, even if you're like writing or or drawing or doing something like creative as well, like those film scores, like they really do lend
inspire
a hand.
you.
Yeah.
Well, because you can start to see the scene. Like you see it for real. And then that helps me so much with like dialogue and stuff. Mm-hmm. Because it gets me in the mode of movie flow, of dialogue and like where a music cues and where scores like kind of fit into things. And it can be a lot of fun. Yeah. Trembling says, I definitely listen to the film scores when I read too. Hell yeah. All right, so it's not that one. Grim Discovery.
I gotta go take a shit right now.
Yeah. Oh my God, it's so hot in there. Oh my God. Oh, you know what's would be the twist? You know what's the button on the sketch? Is that you've been dabbing your head with a cloth to get all the sweat, but you've used up all the toilet paper.
Oh yeah.
That's how you have to end it. That's the logical conclusion.
We just have the toilets left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I just love this score. Now I'm just listening to the Predator score. Sorry, everybody. I'm just digging on it. Come on, where is it? Oh, dude, every single piece is a banger.
It's
Holy
so-
shit!
yeah.
Every single one I click on, I just want to listen to the whole thing. Isn't this just this piece of music from fucking Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Right? No,
Did Alan Silvestri do Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
I think so. I think so.
We gotta blow this case
gotta-
wide open.
I just like that.
Dude,
Just all-
that is the music. That's the. I mean, I know it's from Predator too, but
Right.
that is definitely from fucking Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Yeah. I just like that this whole First Blood review is, oh, yeah, the Predator soundtrack. Oh.
Just Cumin, straight Cumin.
Cumin.
Dude. Listen, buddy, you gotta enjoy life. You gotta love it. You know.
Yeah.
And you gotta do things to make you love it. Which is listening to Alan Silvestri soundtracks, and yes, Alan Silvestri did do the score for Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Okay.
Just a few years after this. Trellick says the Predator 2 score is cool too. It's not completely the same score. There are some cool new cues. Yes, I'm not as familiar with that one, but I do like it. All right, so we know it's not that one. Oh, God, so cool. Ah, yeah, bring it back. Grim Discoveries into Payback Time. Where is it? Dude, that's some great adventure movie score right there, dude. Come on.
They don't
Come
they don't do that anymore.
No,
None of
now
these
they get
composers.
fucking Junkie XL and Hans Zimmer to do everything. Come on.
Yeah.
Because everybody loved that. It was Junkie XL and Hans Zimmer did the Batman v Superman score. I thought it was just like very whatever. It's just techno music.
Yeah.
Come on. It's fucking so good.
You're right in the jungle. You
We're just fucking,
feel it.
Yeah, you're skipping along. Do you run and you got a backpack on?
Yes.
The Phantom is chasing you. Billy Zane.
yeah.
Tremlick says, "Oh man, I hate so many new scores because they're not memorable anymore. You know?
No.
I guess who out there is like a big composer? I mean, I know like these Swedish guys are big. Hans Zimmer, Johan Jorgensen, or whatever his name is.
I was gonna say like he was like the last like big one before he passed away. But like the work he did with Mandy, or like Prisoners, like on the depressing side, like with that score, like he was there aren't a lot of those types right now. They're all trying to do something that's just trendy or different.
Well, because we're also not like producing kind of like a Predator's kind of an adult adventure movie,
right?
You know, it's kind of what it is. But we don't make movies like, even when we make movies like that, I'm trying to think of like what was the last like big adventure movie to come out, like Uncharted or even the Mission Impossible scores are actually generally kind of cool, but they all circle the Mission Impossible theme. They're all just variations on it.
Yeah.
So it kind of, as far as originality goes, it kind of takes it away. What the hell was I just thinking about? I had it on the tip of my tongue and I was gone. Fuck. All right, a little bit more Jungle Trek. Oh no, it's Billy Zane. The first Predator strike.
The footstep, like so. Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah.
I'm just trying. Oh, here we go. The Chase. Maybe it's called The Chase. Yep. It's a little different.
Right.
Is this the same one I'm thinking of? Is this the one we were thinking of?
I think so. Yeah. Where it holds on that note for.
Yeah, right here. That's very similar. Oh my God, did I lose the other one? It's a little different. It's like when Vanilla Ice was like, yeah, I sampled that song, but mine goes ding, 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 ding,
Yeah.
ding. Not ding, 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 ding. It goes ding, 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 ding.
Yeah.
That's a little different, okay? Let me see. Tremlick says the only modern scores that are memorable are the ones that do retro 80s synth thing. Yeah, that was definitely a thing for a little while. That came out of a lot of the Austin people do that. What's his name? Adam Wingard was doing that too. That's kind of like, isn't Your Next kind of like that? And I know the guest is like that. It's got a very very kind of a cool soundtrack actually.
I do like the soundtrack a lot. If anything, that's probably my favorite part of that movie, apart from everything else.
But just like the visuals, the vibe of that movie is much better than the movie itself. But
yeah.
Prophet says the 90s were the zenith of film score. Even trash like ID4 had amazing scoring. Now it all sounds like bad transmission in January, brother. You're not wrong. Because big studio movies, it was expected. It was expected that you would put on a big classical score. It Follows had an excellent retro score. Yes, it does. Actually, it really does. Let me see here. Prophet says, I've been listening to Jean Du Perez Ninja Turtle score while I smoke pot and play with my overpriced plastic. It's been taking me places, brother. Traveling says, somehow all these comic book movies and not a single memorable theme for a character other than the 300 ripoff theme for Wonder Woman. Yeah. I mean, the last memorable superhero score was probably Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I would recognize the music from Spider-Man anywhere.
Right.
And maybe, I'm talking post like 2000.
Oh, also like, and going back to Jerry Goldsmith, and his score foundation, The Mummy. I still like, I associate that so well with him and those films, and they're so unique to that like specific. Oh, we're in Egypt. This is a horror movie or an action adventure comedy. He's one of these like composers that can really I don't know, he just like fits a vibe really well. Like he likes to really play up the instrumental strings and things of that nature, but like he still keeps it like personal to the movie itself. Like that feels like the right tone for that movie. Not a lot of composers can do that right now. Hans Zimmer struggles with that. A lot of these composers,
What do you mean? You don't like Danny Elfman scores?
Well, Danny Elfman had a few good runs.
No, but Danny Elfman's just like that house Danny Elfman style is just what it is. Like, it's just. I mean, maybe if you're like a super fan, you can find the nuance in some of the scores. But man, after Sleepy Hollow.
Yes,
it was kind of all sounds the same.
Yeah. Well, and John Williams is also a culprit. Like, dude, like let off on the horns a little bit. We don't need that shit. I
give him a pass. He's like 100 years old.
Right? Okay,
he's done.
Yeah.
Well, he created like the vibe of kind of what people like Alan Silvestri or maybe even Jerry Goldsmith to a certain degree.
Yeah.
I mean, he's kind of responsible for the popularizing of that kind of feeling in a score, and a lot of that comes from fucking Star Wars. Believe it or not, I mean, the score for Star Wars, whether you like Star Wars or not, is an incredible score. It's like a perfect adventure movie score.
And you and I know I hate Star Wars. I'm just kidding.
I fucking hate the original Star Wars more than I hate the new ones. My favorite Star Wars movie is Rise of the Skywalkers.
Yeah.
Okay? Things happen in that movie. So many things happen in that movie. Characters everywhere. Dialogue every single scene.
How dare they? They can't be doing that shit. No.
Kylo
Can't be getting away
Ren
with it.
Gets to see his dad again, dude. Come on. Oh, dude. That would be I wish we could like do a watch along with that and not get in trouble. Cuz I would love to just sit and like get you, me, get like Prophet and like just rip into the Rise of Skywalker. Cause it's so bad. Dude, that movie's like a nightmare. I was in the theater watching it, like and I was gonna have a seizure.
I feel like Prophet would just let it rip. He would say every horrible thing, and I would just be laughing the whole time.
He has a deep he has a deep connection to Star Wars.
Yeah.
Really the old Star Wars, the
Right.
original Star Wars. Yeah. And old bucks like us, we didn't take too kindly to these new feminist Star Wars movies.
Kathleen Kennedy engines.
Coming out of the Disney machine. Coming out of that Disney machine.
Yeah.
But yeah. Well, back to Rambo First Blood. Yeah. Great movie. Great tight thriller. Like it's surprisingly thoughtful. Because we look at Rambo as kind of this big franchise, big action franchise. But I'll say this, even the dumb ones, even the ones that are like full of action, there is at least an attempt at thoughtfulness kind of in all of them. We could, I guess, briefly, in closing, you want to briefly touch on the sequels to wrap it up?
Sure. Yeah. Just to wrap up. Yeah.
So what is, like, outside of First Blood, what is your favorite of the sequels?
Weirdly, well, yeah, probably Rambo, the fourth one.
Okay.
Yeah. It felt at the very least, even though it is so overly violent and over the top, you know, they take it to Thailand and then head to Burma and whatnot. It did have a closure feel by the end. They're like, okay, you know, that's a good staple for the Rambo character. You know, let's move on. You know,
he got to go home.
Yes.
And it should have ended there.
Yeah.
I mean, that it closes the loop. It's the perfect ending for the character. I don't understand. Right. Well, I do understand why they revisited it, but I don't agree that they should have.
Yeah.
I think I agree with you. I think Rambo 4 is probably my second favorite, which is interesting because actually I saw this movie. I saw Rambo 4 in the theater with Big Paul back when we lived in Alaska. And we both kind of didn't really like the movie that much. It has some, because I believe the script is just by Stallone. It has some of the most painful dialogue in any Rambo movie. Like some of the line readings, some of the scenes are like, holy shit. Julie Delpy is not a good actress.
No.
She's not a good actress. And there's a scene where she's trying to convince John to take them down the river, and it's like raining. And they have like this emotional moment where she's kind of pleading with him to do the right thing. You know, don't be so selfish. Don't you care about anything? And it's the dialogue is so bad in the scene that it kind of undermines the point of it.
Right.
But I do think, though, big picture, it is the second best one, 100%.
Yeah.
I have never really loved 2 or 3. I think the second one's like fun for what it is, but it's like such a huge departure that I don't really have much interest in it.
3 especially, I check out. Like I'm at a certain point, like I'm just not even in the same rhythm of the movie.
I can't even ever remember what the fuck happens in that movie. Every time I see it, feels like the first time I watched it.
Yeah.
I never remember it. It's such an unmemorable movie. And although I think it's the highest grossing of all 3 of them, or of the 3 original movies.
Sure.
Or maybe of all of them, actually. It might be the highest grossing of all of them.
That's the weird thing. It's like, it's what people remember Rambo probably the most from. And even then, like, I can't.
I think it's 2. 2's the one, because that's the one where they introduce the bow and arrow that blows shit up.
Yeah.
And,
Right.
I mean, listen, like, Rambo 2 is a fun movie. Mm-hmm. It is what it is. And I kind of like, I like its cheesiness. I like that it's shot, has like a soap opera lighting.
Sure.
Everybody's in soft focus for some reason.
Yeah.
But it's so incongruent with First Blood that it just makes no fucking sense. So if you watch the end of First Blood, where John Rambo is just destroyed, it's over, bro. Like can you imagine John Rambo going back into to Vietnam after First Blood? Like, doesn't make like, oh, John, you're the only one. We're just you. Remember all those guys you thought they were dead? Well, I guess they're not.
Right. And you only go back really for those other performances, like those other character actors that show up for the sequels.
Like the guy that's in the command center or whatever,
the
evil guy, the stooge.
Who's really good, or at least a lot of fun, you know.
He's fun. But that's that movie, though, right? It kind of fits with the movie.
Right.
I actually like Last Blood. That's another one that kind of grew on me.
Right.
I do. It's a way better movie than I gave it credit for. I don't know if it's a great Rambo movie.
It doesn't it definitely opens up more doors than closes them, I would say, like compared to the fourth one, where it's just like, oh, like, okay, are Rambo, are you not like actually finished with life? Can you get with the program here a little bit?
I mean, like,
Yeah.
I'm trying to think like creatively. Like, why would
Yeah.
Stallone want to do this? Like, why would he want to do it? Because that's like
Yeah.
we had said. The last shot of Rambo 4 is John returning home and walking down the long driveway to his family farm.
Yeah.
Like, and it's the perfect ending to the character. Like, he was fucking hiding out in Burma because he's like, he can't live with people, etc. And he finds peace. He's able to come back home. And I think what they wanted to do with his character was to give him like a truly like selfless send off. But then they kind of just made like if it wasn't a Rambo movie, this would just be a direct-to-video movie. Like, Mel Gibson would have starred in this today. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, they made like a Taken 3 sort of like
Yeah.
plot, out of it. Yeah.
and it's not that it's bad. Like I said,
Yeah.
I don't think it's bad. And I think Stallone's actually pretty good. If there is something
Right.
that there's consistent, I think he's pretty consistent with the character.
Yeah.
I don't think he breaks from it too much. So it does feel in a as part of the piece in a way. But it's weird seeing like just domestic John Rambo. It's just weird.
Yeah. Yeah.
And but it is, I will say about this movie though, it is fucking dark as fuck. Like you don't like they kill the dog. You know what I mean? Like they spoilers for this old movie, but like this girl basically gets kidnapped to be sex trafficked on the border. Rambo, through a lot of trial and error, saves her. And by the time they pull up back home to the farm, she's dead
Yeah.
because she has been given some bad drugs because they're keeping the girls doped up.
Right. Right.
She dies of an overdose, basically. Like that's dark as fuck,
Which
and it makes
yeah.
some of the last moments very satisfying. Like he literally rips a man's heart out of his chest.
Yeah. I was gonna say, yeah, you don't see that kind of storytelling on that edge too often right now. Like it's just too unsavory to tell a story where, yeah, like you failed, you couldn't save your daughter, your last loved one.
Well, then it kind of like takes like he doesn't get to be a hero. It's another.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, he is technically, but he's not because he didn't actually save the girl. And that's, to me, I found that kind of weird because it's like another one of these like, well, these guys are not allowed to be heroes anymore. We need to deconstruct them and
Right.
break them down. We need to kind of, at least they didn't do the shit where they were like accusing John of being racist or something because he was fighting the cartel, which was the talking point about the movie when it came out. Like all the movie critics and everything said it was a xenophobic movie. I'm like, so do you think all Mexicans are sex trafficking cartel members? Like, what are you saying? Like, what are you talking about?
Right.
Do you think Mexicans don't also really fucking hate the cartel?
Yeah.
Do you think they're not also trafficking Mexican girls and children? Like, what are you talking about?
I've talked to enough people from Mexico who say these. Yeah, exactly. You're just like, yeah, what?
Are we
this is
not allowed a little xenophobic catharsis?
Right.
Can we watch John just dispatch some fucking bad people and let it be that?
Right. Right.
Like it's the Trump era John Rambo movie. You're like, fuck you. My God,
like-
shut up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry. Prophet says, can you imagine instead of the final monologue, you get a DBDR rant where Rambo yells at his commander about being a subhuman 5 goblin lurker? I can actually. I can imagine that, and it's very funny. It's very funny. It's over, bro. It's over. I'm just walking around. I don't even talk to people most of the time. I'm like a subhuman 5 ghoul out at night playing basketball. He's got it. Listen, I'm rooting for DBDR. I need him to pull out of this.
Yeah.
Trelling says, him digging tunnels as a symptom of PTSD is a weird reason to have those set pieces. I mean, you're not wrong. It's a complete ridiculous. Like it's very contrived.
You know that whole tunnel location is gonna like come into play like later on.
Oh, of course, yeah, because
Yeah.
they spend so much time showing you how it works and setting it up and being like,
Yeah.
"Don't go down there." You know, Uncle John's got that thing booby trapped up the wazoo.
Yeah.
Um,
Which there's like a funny comedy out there where John Rambo just steps into all of his traps.
all of his own traps.
Yeah.
Oh, and he's just like stumbling around, and it's
Yeah.
just 90 minutes of that.
Yeah.
Prophet says, "It's over, Commander. Even the sheriff didn't like me. That's how you know it's over."
Yeah. Yeah.
Cope. Do you know who DBDR is, Jeremy? You probably have no fucking idea. Listen, he's a musician.
Like
You wanna-
who? Who? Yeah, I don't know. I know.
Yeah.
I know what DVDR is, but not.
DBDR. It's a guy online that we've
Okay.
covered on Nightcap, and he's actually become very popular lately.
Okay.
So other people have started talking about him. So now we're gonna stop talking about him because not too many people are talking about him. But
Gotcha. Yeah.
although, yeah, that's me being an idiot. But anyways, but yeah, he's a doomer.
Okay.
And and it would be funny and he says things like, "I'm just a sub 5 night lurking ghoul, dude. Like nobody loves me. Nobody's ever gonna like me." And I feel really bad for him. And he has enough self-awareness to pull out of it. So I'm always rooting for him, even though I think he's completely captured by his audience and is now stuck in a loop of negativity. Prophets also says, "quote unquote, it's over, Commander." Oh, I already read that. Never mind.
My advice to him at least is just DVDR. Dude,
cool.
just have be cool, but just have something to care about that you like to do, and just do it. I don't know what.
If you went up to fucking
Yeah.
DBDR and said something like that, you know what he would say to you? Do you have any idea what he would say to you? He would say this.
I'm gonna jack off on your fucking casket, you cocksucking son of a bitch.
All right, then fuck me. I don't even. Yeah.
You try to bring positivity into DBDR's life? Are you out of your mind?
Right.
Trying to tell him that it's really not that bad, man. Just chill.
Yeah. Just.
No, it's become kind of a meme lately. But
Yeah.
Anyways,
I had one final note here
Sure.
for First Blood, and I wrote this from last year. The movie is the destructive echo of American foreign policy, the eternal domestic consequences of stunting generations of boys, turning them into killing machines, and then abandoning them. Law and Order, indeed. Believe it was Stallone himself who said that even the most skilled killer in the world can't kill that kind of hypocritical bureaucracy. You can only live with it. That was my take.
well, there you go.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. That's a pretty good way to end the review. I like that.
Yeah.
Well, Jeremy, that was a lot of fun. We did it. Another episode in the bag.
Yeah, like apart from like more easy child-friendly educational programming like Bluey or something, which I only know about through my baby brother right now.
I know all about Bluey.
Yeah, they don't make shows though regularly like action superhero
Well, they
Ninja
used to
Turtle
just-
like shows anymore.
Yes, exactly. Like the classic Ninja Turtles, where they're like fun and they're action orientated, and all of the characters are like virtuous, good people that are like they're heroes, unambiguously heroes, but they also have to deal with kind of mundane life stuff, especially like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. They were still teenagers, and it makes it fun. It makes it because we watch it. I watch those occasionally with my kid, and they're pretty fun. I mean, I wouldn't ever like sit and watch them by myself or something, but
right.
they're cool for what they are. And I kind of I mourn the loss of that kind of stuff because I grew up watching a lot of like syndicated cartoon shows from the 80s that only had like one season, and a lot of them were based on rated R movie franchises.
Yeah.
Much like the movie we're about to watch. Here's a little taste. So 1982. Rambo comes out. By 1986, they had a cartoon.
Yep, that's right.
Like Coralco did the cartoon too. Isn't that awesome? You know, I'd be watching my dad's VHS tapes, then I'd pop on over to the TV and catch some reruns of Rambo, the Force of Freedom. And what I do like about this, last time I'm going to pause for a second.
Sure.
What I like about these, they are all pseudo sequels to the movies that they're from.
They're all canon. Yeah.
Yeah, they're like canon. Like if you go watch the RoboCop the animated series, it literally does a recap of RoboCop 1 in the intro.
Right.
And it's actually awesome. It's like my favorite part of watching the show. Let me see here. Trembling says it's from a bad era of Spider-Man where they went real mystical with Spider-Man and his character was the big bad of that era. Okay. Dude, I mean, come on. How fucking cool is that? Imagine being like 7 years old, stumbling across this.
Yeah.
Rambo. Anywhere and everywhere, the savage forces of General Warhawk threaten the peace-loving people of the world.
Yeah, it's kind of like a lot of these have this model of show where like Captain Planet was the most popular version of this.
Right. Yeah.
Actually, the Godzilla '98 cartoon show is like this, was like a shadowy figure controlling the world, and they have these team of scientists. Treming says there was supposed to be to even be an alien kids cartoon, which they shot a pilot for, but scrapped the cartoon, but still came out with the toys. The toys ruled. I had most of them. I had a lot of those toys too, actually.
There's only one man to call. Get me Rambo. From the canyons of skyscrapers to the canyons of remote mountain peaks, Liberty.
Dude, like you have no idea how fucking cool this was when I was a kid.
Oh, dude, I mean,
because I watched the movie with my dad, and then I would go watch the cartoon. Like, it was amazing.
And it helps that they still keep the theme song. They still keep just like the action heavy.
It actually feels like It feels like Rambo.
Right? Yeah.
I mean, maybe Rambo 2.
More so,
but like, you know, but it has like the tone of the theme and stuff. It all works. It all plays.
His champion is unstoppable. Rambo, helped by the mechanical genius known as Turbo, and the master of disguises named Cat, the honor-bound protector of the innocent.
Dude, I gotta meet Cat.
I know. Yeah,
Cat.
Hold on now.
Trembling says, man, the first 3 Rambo movie scores rule so much, especially the second one score. The second one score is great. I do really love the original, though. And we're going to talk about that in a second.
Rambo.
Actually, this is over.